Julie, thanks for joining us today. So, for International Women's Day, can you tell us about a woman or women that have inspired you?
I think one of the first women to inspire me was my grandma. She was born in 1900 and she had grown up in quite a comfortable family, but then due to kind of family uh, not getting along, as it were, she moved over to Halifax, met my granddad, and my granddad was actually invalided out of the war. He was involved in the D-Day landings, and he became permanently disabled. And so she was not only the main carer, main wage earner, she was carer for my granddad, and she worked in the mills and continued working until way past the normal retirement age, um, and was very much a carer for my granddad. And my strongest memories of granddad are that he was forever in hospital. He kept having to have operations on his leg, and so she would be supportive in caring for him with his mobility problems and his respiratory problems. Um, I remember a story told to me which affected me very deeply. Um, their children were my mum and her baby brother, and my mum explained how my Uncle Frank was being put in his pram in the front yard while Grandma got on with housework, and then would come back and check on my Uncle Frank. And she came back to check on him one time. He wasn't there, and they had a search around the neighbourhood and found him a few streets away. A lady had walked off with him. And normally you would expect kind of any parent, even now, to immediately be saying, clap that woman in irons, take her away. But my grandma didn't. She found out that the lady had recently lost a baby herself. And so she reached out to the lady and was saying, if you feel a need to hold the baby again, you can come back and visit Frank. And my mum remembered that lady coming back over a period of time and playing with my Uncle Frank and holding him until eventually her visits became less and less. And then eventually she stopped coming.
That's a wonderful story, Julie. Thank you for sharing. And I can see why she was an inspiration. You work as a dementia activist, you do advocacy work with the Alzheimer's Society, you have involvement with the Three Nations Dementia Group. You've also been instrumental in setting up a young onset dementia group in Calderdale. All of this demonstrates your commitment to helping the dementia community. Some people like me would consider you inspiring. How would you respond to that?
The dementia activists who've come before me, they've been working for over 20 years now, that people starting to stand up and say, nothing about us without us. I don't want you to organise what you think someone living with dementia, needs. You need to hear my voice. Campaigning for greater rights and better services. And so I take my inspiration from those people, some of whom that I'm very fortunate enough have become not just colleagues, become my friends, and they're incredibly special people. That people talk a lot about what we lose in dementia, but what we gain is, my God, I have met so many incredible people over the years since my diagnosis. Um, and I find myself very, very fortunate in order to have met those people, had them in my life, and to have had the opportunities to work with them on such a variety of different projects, and had the opportunities to really develop a third career for myself. First of all, I was a nurse, then social worker, and now to be so widely involved in the voluntary circuit. And it is just, it keeps me going. I think the thing is, it's very important to keep the uh, the mental challenges going, the cognitive function, and the work is very beneficial. It acts very much as a kind of mental gym, that the more we get involved, stay involved, and keep our thinking processes moving, it benefits us so much.
There must have been some barriers on your journey, both as a person with a diagnosis and as an activist. What have been the main barriers, and how did you overcome them?
I think the aspect that being someone younger, I was diagnosed at 54, and now I have physical challenges, but presenting myself as someone who had symptoms, and then when I was first diagnosed, it was very much a case of, no, you're too young to have dementia. People, even the professionals, not recognising the fact that you really can get dementia at any stage in life, and it's not all about the image that the media usually present to us as someone who's very old, very infirm. But it's a whole journey, a whole process, and so from the start of our journey, we could be very fit and very agile, and there are very many ways in which we can live our lives very positively. And I think some people are perhaps so surprised by that maybe that they're a little bit slow to accept that we have the diagnosis that we do.
Wonderful, thank you. Final question from me on this International Women's Day. What advice or guidance would you give to other women on their journey through living with dementia?
Don't let it limit you. I think that that don't allow it to have the other people's expectations to put limits on you. If you want to do something, try. Even if you have to think of other ways of approaching something to enable you to do that. Don't give up on the things that interest you, and try new things. It is possible for you to learn new things after diagnosis. I've developed, could never write poetry before my diagnosis. It's only after my diagnosis that I learned, actually from other people with dementia, about how to develop writing different forms of poetry. So don't stop.
Thank you so much, Julie.
Okay.